Hello and welcome to this tutorial on running Flexcom on the cloud. My name is Angus Connolly and I'm the product manager for our Flexcom software. Okay, so I'm going to begin by opening up an internet browser. I normally use Google Chrome, but you can use any of the modern browsers like Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox. At this point you will need to navigate to the link to the cloud platform which your company has set up with Wood. So you'll get a link via an email. I've just set up the hyperlink here as a bookmark for ease of reference later on. At this point you need to sign on with your unique username and your password. The first time that you sign on you'll need to create a new password which you'll use going forward. Just to note that this password you create for using Flexcom on the cloud is in no way related to your normal organizational password which you would log on to Windows on your normal system. So it's a password just for yourself, it's just for Flexcom on the cloud. So I have typed in my username and password and click sign in. Now sometimes it uses a double factor authentication, so in this case it's going to send me a code to my angusconnolly@woodplc.com, my email address. So that's already come through. Just open that email. I'm going to copy my code and paste this back in here just to verify that this is indeed myself that's using the platform. Just close that window. At this point now I have signed in and you can see the options available to you in terms of your fleet. So the fleet means the range of computers on the cloud platform that you have available to you. The standard configuration is a choice between 4 CPU, 8 CPU, 16 CPU and 32 CPU machines. So bear in mind that the larger machines on the cloud obviously cost more per hour to use. So if you're using Flexcom intensively and you've got a large batch run to run, then you should obviously go for the 32 CPU machine. But if you're just doing something less onerous, then you should go for a smaller machine because it's more cost effective. So I'm going to launch the smallest machine here because it's just a demo and I don't want to run up any large bills. So at this point I'm presented with a catalogue of applications. These are all of the range of products that have been set up on the cloud platform for your organization by Wood. So the main one would be Flexcom obviously, but there are lots of others as well like Adobe Acrobat Reader, Microsoft Excel, some text editors like Notepad++, TextPad and so on, and a zip file compression there, 7 zip. I'm going to start by launching Flexcom, but it doesn't really matter which application you start with because we haven't actually spun up the machine in the cloud yet. So I'm going to launch Flexcom 8.10.4 by clicking on the icon. And right now the machine is being spun up on the cloud. So this is the point at which you start to become billed, or your organization will become billed per hour once this machine is up and running. So it normally takes about 1 minute to load, so we might just have to wait for a few moments here to load this. So the machine has now spun up and it's asking me for my password again, which I'll just type in one more time. And we should be up and running very shortly. So now we have Flexcom up and running on the cloud. And I will just show you how to actually begin using software. So on the top left hand corner here you have a launch app button which lets you launch different applications. So at the moment we're using Flexcom, but we could use others. Let's say we want to use Microsoft Excel. It just launches Excel as you would do on a normal desktop machine. So it's very much like using a PC remotely if you've used remote desktoping before, except that the machine is on the cloud rather than being in some other location on your office. If you want to switch between windows, you can use this switch button here. This lets you select between all the different products which you have open. So at the moment we have Flexcom and Excel. We can just choose one of those two. So that's analogous to using your Alt Tab key on a normal desktop machine. It allows you to switch between your active windows. So really the most critical aspect of using the information on the cloud is that you can upload and download files from your own desktop machine to the cloud machine. And to do this you press the My Files icon, which is the third button from the left hand side there, My Files. I'll open that. In here now you see two folders called Home folder and temporary files. Temporary files is the area where you will do all of your work, your Flexcom simulations, any other work you'll be doing with spreadsheets or text editors and so on. This will all reside in the temporary files location or folder on your cloud machine. When you finish your session, when you have run your Flexcom simulations and before you log out, it is very important that you transfer data from your temporary folder into your home folder. The home folder represents persistent storage. This means that once you've logged off from your cloud solution, your cloud platform, any data which is contained in the home folder will be retained there indefinitely. Anything that's in your temporary files folder will be completely wiped, as the machine is a virtual machine, and once it's taken down, any data that's on it is just lost. So you need to move from your temporary or transient storage into your home folder. So let's just see how we might go about doing that. I'm just going to switch back to my normal desktop machine for a moment. Just bring up Windows Explorer on my desktop machine, which you're looking at now. I'll just close the other window just to give you a little better view of this. Here I've got some Flexcom files, just a very simple project, one of the Flexcom examples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these files and I'll zip them up. So I'll send that to a zip file, sorry. I now want to transfer this zip file from my desktop machine onto my cloud machine, so I'm going to upload some Flexcom input files. So let me go back to my cloud solution, which is my internet browser. I can upload files. This will allow me to select some files. So I'll go into my documents, Wood, Flexcom, 804, example projects. I'm using example K1. And in here we can see the zip file which I've just created on my desktop machine. So when I go open, that's just uploaded these files into my temporary file location on my cloud machine. So now that I've transferred the data up there, I need to do something with it. So let me open up another window which is called Explorer, or another application called Explorer. I'll just hide the My Files window on my cloud machine. And this is just like Windows Explorer, which just allows you to see what the contents of your cloud machine is. So if I go into my temporary files folder here, I can see that I have the zip file which I've just uploaded. If I right click on it, I can unzip, and you can see that I have my few files here for my example. So these files are now live and up on my temporary storage area. If I switch back to Flexcom using my switch windows button, I have a File Explorer, I have Microsoft Excel, and I have Flexcom. So I'm going to choose Flexcom. This opens up Flexcom, brings the Flexcom windows to the fore. Now I just use Flexcom as I would do on a normal standard desktop machine. I'm going to open up a project. The project that I'm going to find will be in my temporary files, which is where I've uploaded it from my desktop machine. This is the project file. It's quite a simple file, or a simple project. There's only 2 files in it. I'll just open up the static file there so you can see it. And you can see the model view. So Flexcom behaves the same here as it would do on a normal desktop machine. You've all the same functionality. It's just like using the machine, using remote desktop, as I've mentioned. So let me just run these 2 analyses. They're very short, so they should run very quickly. So it's just running a static simulation followed by regular wave dynamic. You see this in the analysis status window. So the static is completed. We're now going to run the dynamic, and that should only take a minute or 2 to run. Okay, so now that my simulation is completely finished, I can, as I said, I have all the same functionality I would have on my desktop machine. So I'll just throw open the model view for the dynamic file. Just close that static window first. Play the animation. Okay, so now that I've finished my simulation, this is just one run. Obviously I have lots of runs, but now I need to store my data before I log out of my cloud session. So at this point I'm going to go to my Solution Explorer again, which I already have open. Now if I go into my temporary files, I'll see that I have quite a lot more information here now. I have output files as well as input files. So what I'd like to do is I'll just delete this original zip file, and I will zip up all of the data, so input files and output files, all my data. I'm going to send that to another zip file up here. At this point, I can either copy this zip file to my home folder. So if I right click and go copy, and if I put it into the home folder and I hit paste, this data will reside in my home folder after I've logged out. Now, in this case, I won't actually do this because I don't want to put data into this permanent storage, because there's a certain fee associated with how many gigabytes you've got stored and so on. So what I will do instead is, rather than putting it into the home folder here on my cloud machine, I'll actually just copy it down to my desktop again. In order to do that, I'll go back to the My Files window, go into Temporary Files. This is the zip file which I've just already created, which includes my outputs as well as my inputs. I'll click download, and you can see that's downloading to my desktop machine. And I can just show this in the folder, which should be, let me just go to my downloads folder, and here we go. So this is the file that I've just downloaded to my desktop. Let me just unzip it just to make sure it's exactly what I think it is. So it's 5 megabytes of data. So it's got input and output files. Let's just see the folder on my desktop machine in Explorer. Again, so we've got the keyword files, and we've also got a lot of output files, including plots and so on. So that's basically it in terms of how you use the cloud solution. So I'll just maybe run through it very briefly again. If there's anything else I haven't covered, all these other applications you can just use as normal. We've covered how to switch between different windows using the Switch Windows button. The Solution Explorer is a very useful window. It's like Windows Explorer on your cloud machine. It shows you what files you have in temporary and permanent storage, and allows you to move data back and forth between the two. The My Files window is very important. That allows you to upload files into your temporary storage using your upload button, or you can also, I'll just cancel that, or if you've already got a files in there, you can actually download them to your desktop machine using the download button. Beyond that, there isn't too much to worry about. A copy and paste, and there's some other settings here which you probably won't really use all that often. There's a full screen button here which allows you to just make Flexcom or whatever package you're using take up the whole screen, so you might have slightly better resolution on it. If you want to leave the full screen mode, you just press the escape key. So just to recap on the most important point really of this session is that anything that you have in temporary storage gets wiped, gets deleted when you log off from your cloud session. Anything that you have in your home folder persists, and that means it's when you log on the next time onto the cloud platform, the data will be there waiting for you. So this is where you would store your data, and this is your working area. Now to leave the cloud platform, you just click, just right click, or just click on the icon over here on the top right hand corner and go end session. It is very important that you end the session formally, because if you leave the session open by accident or whatever, your organization will continue to be billed per hour while that session persists. And if you have say a 32 core machine open, then their charges are significant per hour. So it's very important that you formally log out. If you forget to log out, there's a maximum timeout on the session anyway, so it times out after about 72 hours. But you obviously don't want to do that if you're not using the machine. So I'm going to end session, and it tells me that I need to save my data before I log out. I've already done that, so I'm just going to go end session, and there should be another. I think that's another. There should be maybe one more option that means to log out completely from it. So my cloud session has expired. I can also sign out formally from the cloud platform as well, just to complete the entire process. But I've already shut down the machine now by logging out, so there's no machine running. So at this point, I'm not being charged anymore. So I'll click sign out, and that takes me back to the opening screen. So that's just a sample cloud session in Flexcom. A very simple session because I only uploaded and downloaded a handful of files, but you get the idea of how it operates. If you want a reference point just to check out some of the information which I've just presented on screen, you can go to the Flexcom online help system. You can go to licensing options, Flexcom-on-the-Cloud. There's two nice articles here. One of them is called Setting Up the Cloud Platform. This would be aimed at your IT staff in their discussions with with Wood personnel. So it's how many computers you want, what's your fleet size, what power each PC is online, a list of users in your organization, which are identified by their own email addresses, the office locations in which they're located. Depending on where they are geographically, we will spin up these machines in a location which is in reasonably close proximity for speed reasons. And then you say what the list of software applications that you want on the cloud platform is. So there'll be Excel, some text editors, maybe Adobe Reader, Word, whatever you want really. This one is the article on using the cloud platform, which is basically all the information I've just presented to you in the tutorial, just in written form, so it's as I said, it's a handy reference. And finally, there's an article there just on security and reliability, just to answer some frequently asked questions that users commonly have in terms of security and so on. I think that concludes the demo on the cloud platform with Flexcom, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us, our technical support team here at Wood. Thank you for listening.